A homicide is considered to be clear if at least one person is arrested, formally charged, and handed over to a court of law for trial. And that process is happening less in Illinois than any other state in the country, and it's not even close.
We literally watched him die on the porch.
Bonnie Butera buried her only son in August of 2008. Jeremy Butera was shot while sitting on his porch.
I tell you, your son is deceased, and your whole world just stops.
Mike Delgado was a Winnebago County Corrections officer when he learned his teenage son Alex was shot to death while walking home from a friend's house in July of 2007.
His 8th grade graduation.
19-year-old Joshua Range of Rochelle was stabbed to death at Summerdale Park in Rockford in 2002 while expecting to meet an online date.
They say it gets better. It doesn't. It eats away at you. When he died, your life does change.
All three were interviewed by me 7 years ago, and even today, none have found closure.
As a parent, you have a void in your heart that it can never be filled. Each day is better, but even for the years that my son has passed, you still have that hollowness.
And unfortunately, the Butera, Delgado, and Range families are not alone.
In 2016, the FBI estimates that only 59% of all murders in the United States were cleared through arrest. That's the lowest clearance rate in United States history. It's one of the lowest clearance rates in the Western world.
Thomas Hargrove is the founder of the Murder Accountability Project, a nonprofit organization created to improve counting for homicides in the U.S.
Illinois, I can't say it often enough, is a great place to commit murder, unfortunately. No state does a poorer job than Illinois in making at least one arrest for murders.
According to map data from 1980 to 2016, the state with the best clearance rate is Wyoming at 86%, followed by Maine and North Carolina, both with over 81%. As for our neighbors to the north, Wisconsin has a pretty strong clearance rate of 79%. As for the other end of the spectrum, we look at Michigan, just under 49% clearance rate, good for second worst in the country, but check this out, it's nearly 3 times better than Illinois' recorded percentage of 17.52%.
You know, the clearance rate is just awful in Illinois.
But we really aren't sure just how awful. It is because the clearance rate data in Illinois is incomplete.
Illinois is the only state in the nation that does not report clearance information to the U.S. Department of Justice.
Hargrove says the state stopped reporting homicide clearance reports to the FBI in 1994. So the only information on Illinois they have since then is a 2-year study by MAP showing a clearance rate in the state of 37.3% in 2015, the lowest in the nation. But while the true Illinois numbers are hard to gauge, that's not the case in Rockford.
Rockford is our star in Illinois in terms of reporting data. They've been doing a much better job over the years than any other police department in the state.
And it just so happens 2015 was Rockford's worst year when it made arrests on just 2 out of 19 murders. It was that time the department made an important change.
In 2016 in June, when we re-centralized our detective bureau, we've been able to solve 5 additional cases for a total of 7 that year.
Rockford Police Detective Kurt Wizenan says their data shows that arrests have been made in 72% of Rockford homicides over the past 20 years.
We say all the time that the community engagement is by far the biggest key to any successful conclusion to a murder investigation.
And Hargrove agrees, saying the national numbers show a commitment to community policing works.
When somebody ends up dead, the community policing department is going to have a good idea of who the usual suspects might be, because you're on hopefully a first-name basis with that element of the population that might commit crime.
They get to know us as individuals, that we're not robots. It's an ongoing trust-building focus that we've had for the last 2 years, and it has paid off in those solve rates.
Hargrove says another common denominator of states with poor clearance rates is fiscal instability, which leads to a lack of law enforcement resources.
Homicide is like any other kind of war. If you don't have sufficient boots on the ground if you're not going to win. And we're not winning.
Wizenan promises to keep fighting that war.
As long as there's information and as long as there's leads to follow up on, we will continue to work those murders until there's an arrest.
With the goal of providing some sort of peace for families like the Delgados.
A little bit more of my heart to heal. I can't say it'll ever heal 100%, but a little bit more of the heart to heal.
Wizenan says that in Rockford, the police department has a great relationship with the mayor's office and city council, who have provided us with a lot of resources that they need.